What if I told you that nothing in life is truly free? Not success, not respect, not even love. Every dream demands a price, and every goal tests your patience. In this story, you'll discover why effort is the real currency of life, and how one man learned it the hard way. Leo was just 20 years old, young, ambitious, and broke. He lived in a small town where most people believed dreams were for the lucky few. But Leo wanted more. He wanted to own a chain of bakeries, not just sell bread, but build something that carried his name. His family struggled financially. His father, a man of few words and many calluses, worked tirelessly to keep food on the table. One evening, Leo told him about his dream. The old man listened quietly, then said something that stayed with Leo forever. Dreams aren't free, son. If you want something, you must fight for it. That night, Leo couldn't sleep. The words echoed in his head. He realized that wishing wasn't enough, he needed action. But he had no savings, no investors, and no experience. What he had was determination. The next morning, Leo walked to Mr. Anderson's bakery, the oldest in town. Mr. Anderson was known for his strictness and sharp eyes. Leo nervously explained his idea. He wanted to sell Mr. Anderson's bread door to door and pay for it after 1 week of sales. Mr. Anderson looked doubtful. "Why should I trust you?" he asked. Leo replied, "Because I'll prove that I can be trusted." After a long silence, Mr. Anderson finally said, "You have 1 week." That week changed Leo's life. He woke up before sunrise, loaded baskets of fresh bread, and walked through the cold streets. He knocked on doors, greeted people with kindness, and told them stories about the bread he sold. Some refused him, some laughed, but many admired his spirit. By the end of the week, Leo had sold every loaf. He returned to the bakery, handed every coin to Mr. Anderson, and said, "Debt cleared." The old baker smiled for the first time. "You kept your word. Come back tomorrow. I might have more work for you." That moment taught Leo his first great truth: trust is earned, not given. He realized that opportunity doesn't appear magically. It shows up after effort, after risk, after sacrifice. Success doesn't come to those who wait, it comes to those who keep moving even when no one believes in them. That week, Leo didn't just sell bread. He sold the first version of himself, the one who believed that nothing in life is free, but everything is possible when you pay with effort. After his first victory selling bread, Leo began to dream bigger. He didn't want to just sell bread, he wanted to make it. But there was one major problem: he had never baked a single loaf in his life. Still, Leo believed that if he wanted to control his future, he had to learn the skill himself. So, one morning, he returned to Mr. Anderson's bakery and said, "Teach me how to bake." The old baker looked at him, unimpressed. "You think baking is easy, boy? It's not just mixing flour. It's patience, precision, and pain." Leo nodded. "Then I'll learn all three." Mr. Anderson studied his face for a moment and finally replied, "Fine. You start tomorrow at 4 a.m. But before you touch dough, you clean this bakery. Floors, trays, everything. You'll earn your lessons." Leo agreed without hesitation. The next morning, when the rest of the town was still asleep, Leo arrived at the bakery. His hands froze from washing metal trays in cold water. Flour covered his clothes. Yet every morning, he returned, silent, focused, and determined. Finally, after a week, Mr. Anderson let him bake his first loaf. The result: a disaster. The dough was too sticky, the crust too hard. The next one was worse: burnt on the outside, raw inside. Leo grew frustrated but refused to quit. Every mistake became a note in his mental notebook: too much heat, too little yeast, wrong timing. Day after day, failure after failure, he kept learning. Then, one quiet morning, after nearly 2 weeks of trial and error, Leo handed a warm loaf to Mr. Anderson. The old man broke it in half, smelled it, took a bite, and paused. For the first time, a small smile appeared on his face. "Now," he said, "that's real bread." Those words hit Leo harder than any paycheck. He had finally earned not just bread, but respect. He rented a small oven, set it up in his tiny kitchen, and began baking at home. His family helped package and sell his creations around the neighborhood. His hands were burned and rough, his back ached from long nights, but his heart was alive. Leo had discovered something profound. Skills are never free. They demand humility, repetition, and failure. Every mistake he made was not wasted effort, it was an investment. He finally understood that talent doesn't appear overnight, it's built, kneaded, and baked through endless persistence. Success rarely comes without a storm. Just when Leo's little bakery business begins to take off, a new challenge appears, sleek, shiny, and intimidating. A man named Eric opens a modern bakery just 2 streets away. Bright signs, glossy cakes, free samples, and a team of smiling staff. Within days, Leo's customers vanish. His once busy mornings turn silent. The smell of fresh bread still fills the air, but fewer people come to buy it. For a moment, Leo feels crushed. All his work, all those sleepless mornings, now slipping away. But he remembers his father's words. Dreams aren't free. You fight for them every day. So instead of quitting, Leo begins to listen. He talks to his few remaining customers and asks a simple question. What do you love most about my bread? One woman smiles and says, it feels personal. It tastes like someone cared. That answer changes everything. Leo realizes he can't compete with Eric's wealth, but he can win with authenticity, the kind of care no money can buy. He starts to reinvent his little business. He paints his cart by hand, adds flowers around the corners, and begins writing thank you notes with every purchase. The notes say things like, baked with love this morning. Thank you for believing in small dreams. He even learns to decorate cakes by watching late-night tutorials, spending hours practicing frosting designs until his hands ache. Little by little, customers start returning. They come not for luxury, but for heart. His bread isn't perfect, but it's human. For a few months, things feel good again. His small bakery, now named Leo's Fresh Bakes, becomes a local favorite. Children know him by name. Old customers smile when they pass. Leo finally feels the warmth of success, one he truly earned. Then, disaster strikes. One cold night, a faulty wire sparks a fire. Flames swallow his bakery in minutes. By the time help arrives, it's too late. The ovens are destroyed, the walls blackened, the sign melted. Leo stands in the street watching the dream he built turn into ashes. For days, he feels lost. Maybe this is the end, he whispers to himself. But one morning, he wakes up with a decision. He will start again. He gathers the few tools that survived the fire and begins baking from home. His kitchen becomes his new bakery. He works through the night, and by dawn, he's out delivering fresh bread again. What happens next surprises him. The town notices. Customers who once bought his bread now show up to help. Mr. Anderson donates flour and sugar. Neighbors bring wood and tools to rebuild. People drop by to volunteer their time, to paint, to clean, to repair. Leo realizes something powerful. Hard work earns respect, but consistency earns loyalty. When you serve others with sincerity, they don't just buy your product, they believe in you. And that belief, he learns, is something money could never buy. Weeks pass, long, heavy, exhausting weeks filled with rebuilding, repairing, and restarting. Leo's hands are burned, his savings are gone, and his body aches from endless work. Yet every morning, as the first light hits his small town, the smell of fresh bread returns. Piece by piece, the bakery rises again. The walls are repainted by volunteers, the shelves built from donated wood, and the sign outside, Leo's Fresh Bakes, now carries a deeper meaning. It isn't just a business name anymore. It's a symbol of survival. When Leo finally reopens the bakery, it's not grand or shiny. The counters are simple, the decorations humble. But the air inside is different, warm, alive, full of laughter, conversation, and the smell of hope. Customers line up early that morning. Not because his bread is the cheapest or the fanciest, but because they believe in him. A mother tells her son, "This man started with nothing, not even money to buy bread. But he never stopped trying." Leo smiles and says to them gently, "Nothing is free. Not success, not respect, not trust. Everything must be earned, one day at a time." Those words become the quiet heartbeat of his business. Every loaf of bread he sells carries the story of sleepless nights, burned dough, and silent prayers. Every satisfied customer becomes proof that persistence has value. Leo's bakery slowly grows beyond just food. It becomes a gathering place, a space where people share their own dreams and failures. The old man who once mocked Leo's inexperience now visits every morning for coffee. Children watch through the glass as he kneads the dough, wide-eyed and inspired. One day, Mr. Anderson, the man who first gave Leo his chance, visits and says, "You didn't just rebuild a bakery, son. You rebuilt people's belief in effort." Leo nods. He now understands the deepest truth his father tried to teach him years ago. Dreams aren't free. You pay for them with time, pain, and persistence, but that's what makes them worth it. Through sweat, sacrifice, and self-belief, Leo transforms failure into foundation. His bakery stands as more than a shop. It becomes a living story of what happens when someone refuses to give up. The smell of bread fills the air again, not just as food, but as a reminder, everything valuable in life must be earned. As the sun rises over the little town, Leo stands behind the counter of his bakery, the same place that once burned to ashes, the same dream that almost died. The shelves are filled again with golden loaves, the air rich with the scent of butter and hope. Yet what fills his heart most isn't pride, it's understanding. For the first time, Leo truly sees the price he has paid. It wasn't just early mornings or sleepless nights. It wasn't just the blisters, the burns, or the endless hours of kneading dough. The real cost of success was comfort, the comfort of staying the same, of avoiding risk, of choosing excuses over effort. He remembers the days when he wanted to quit, when fear whispered, "Maybe you're not good enough." Every time he ignored that voice, he became stronger. Every failure was a payment, not in money, but in growth. Now, people in town admire him, calling him lucky, but Leo smiles quietly. Luck had nothing to do with it. The truth, he knows, is much simpler. You either pay with effort now or with regret later. One evening, a group of young dreamers visit his bakery, eager for advice. Leo wipes his hands, looks at them, and says slowly, "The world doesn't owe you anything. If you want something, success, respect, or love, you have to earn it. Every dream has a price. You can pay in sweat, in fear, or in failure, but you must pay." He gestures to the walls still faintly marked by the fire, to the ovens rebuilt by neighbors, and to his own hands, rough but steady. "This place," he says, "wasn't built with luck. It was built with lessons." As night falls, Leo locks the bakery door and looks at the glowing sign, "Leo's Fresh Bakes." He smiles, not because everything came easy, but because everything was worth it. And in that quiet moment, Leo's journey becomes a truth for everyone. Nothing in life is free, but everything, when earned, becomes priceless. Leo's story isn't about baking bread, it's about becoming someone stronger, wiser, and more resilient. It's about the invisible ingredients behind every dream: belief, patience, and sacrifice. When people walk into Leo's Fresh Bakes, they don't just smell bread, they feel the story, the struggle, the victory earned through years of persistence. Every loaf he sells carries a message: nothing in this world is truly free. Leo often reflects on the long road that brought him here, the cold mornings selling bread door to door, the nights he cried beside the ashes of his burned shop, and the countless moments of doubt that almost broke him. Yet he knows now that those very moments were gifts in disguise, the kind that shape character and build courage. He tells the young apprentices who come to learn from him, success doesn't start with luck, it starts with sweat. Failure isn't your enemy, it's your teacher. Every scar, every mistake, every late night, they all add value to who you become. One quiet evening, Leo places a fresh loaf on the counter and looks out at the fading sunset. The golden light reflects off the sign above his door, a symbol of everything he has fought for. He remembers his father's words, "Dreams aren't free." At the time, those words sounded harsh. Now, they sound like truth. In his final message, Leo says to everyone chasing something meaningful, "You can't buy character. You can't download discipline. You can't borrow effort. The only way to earn something real is to give something real." He smiles, not because the journey is over, but because he knows it never really ends. Each day still costs effort. Each dream still demands payment. But he's no longer afraid of the price. Because the price is what makes it precious. As the doorbell rings and another customer walks in, Leo ties on his apron once more. The world outside keeps changing, but his truth remains the same. Nothing is free. Not success. Not love. Not respect. But when you pay with heart, everything you gain becomes priceless.